What is going on, guys? Welcome back to another video. I know I haven't posted up any YouTube videos recently, and I actually want to post up this rebuild that my brother actually picked up, and I think it's gonna be one of the cool projects that we will be doing. I haven't been posting much. I haven't done anything nice. I've been just doing a bunch of trucks. As you can see, there's one here. There's one more standing right there, and more right there. But behind the camera, we have a very nice, beautiful car that I want to share with you guys, and it is this 2019 McLaren 600 LT. This thing is freaking amazing. We just got it in yesterday, and man, let me tell you guys, the 570 was nice, but seeing this 600 LT, this thing is just amazing. I love the aggressiveness, the front lip, the beautiful color, the nice blue, whatever this color is. But man, let's go over the car and see what's going on with it. And I'm just gonna walk you guys through what we're gonna be doing with this car. And this is actually for my brother. I am helping him rebuild the car. It's gonna be a fun rebuild, I guess, for the YouTube channel. So stick along, guys. We're gonna go over it. Let's start off with the front end. The car is really nice in the front. There's not much damage to it. There was a little nick right here when I seen it yesterday, but it's not that big of a deal. It's great, it's nice. Luckily there's no hidden damages on it with the front end. It was hitting the rear end, and we're gonna get to that right now as we just walk over to the side. Coming to this quarter panel. I don't know what happened to the car, if they were just doing donuts or what, but the way the damage was, both of these two rear tires were slanted one way, and then the other wheel was slanted this way. I'm not sure if they hit a curb, but I'll show you the rim in just a second. Well, actually, let me show you the rim first. As you can see, it's missing a chunk here. So I think what happened was they were swinging it, they hit a curb, and then the other tie rod bent. Possibly, very, very possibly, I'm not sure. But look at the suspension. We thought it was just gonna be one control arm the way the car was sitting at the auction, but it is literally most of the suspension on this side. Luckily, there is no subframe damage, which is amazing. That's what we don't want. But as you can see, it needs the upper control arm. Literally the shock is completely ripped in half. One of the camber tie rods or whatever this is gone. Oh yeah, it's adjustable, as you can see. Lower control arm might be okay, might not be okay, I'm not sure. But look at this carbon ceramic, guys. This thing is shot, which kind of sucks, as this thing is pretty expensive, as well as the parking brake. I'm not sure if the parking brake itself is good or just the motor. We might end up just swapping the motor out just because we don't need the whole caliper. It doesn't really make sense to, you know, swap out the whole thing. We could save some money there. Let me see what else. Oh, and the axle is shot, and it actually popped off. And I'll tell you what happened in a bit with that. Anyway, the car did start at the auction, and there was a video of the car idling. But when it came to the shop, the car does not want to start. Maybe someone mixed up the terminals, and now one of the fuses blown. I did start it. I started it by bypassing some things, and I'll show you guys that in the video as well. Just if anybody else is interested in or does get a McLaren, they're watching this video. Here, let's move on to the rear. Luckily, the transmission is not damaged. Well, at least as what we could see visually. We do have the rear bumper, and I'll show you guys the rear bumper in just a bit. This is the wheel I was talking about, how you see how bent it is. It is just this outer, just the camber control arm or whatever it is. That needs to get replaced. Hopefully the shock is not bent or any of the other stuff. This does just get all bolted on, which is not as serious because the insurance did. The shop disassembled it, and I guess they totaled the car just because of that. Oh wow, look, I just noticed, look at this quarter panel damage. It looks like maybe it jumped on the wheel or something, because you can see these are not supposed to sit the way they are. Maybe we can get this PDR'd and get away with not respraying the quarter panel. Moving on to this side. This side is literally great. There's nothing wrong with it. Very, very clean. It does have clear bra all around the whole car, which is great. The clear bra isn't the best, or maybe it's just kind of old, and it does have some minor imperfections, and I'll show you guys that in some of the areas. The interior, there is no blown airbags. It does have the carbon bucket seats, and I did not know, but this thing has a camera. Some cameras or a few all around the car for the track, and that is freaking amazing. Here, let me open up this door, just like that, and I'll show you guys the interior right now on this thing. Check it out, guys. This kind of sucks. It's all scratched up from getting out the car. Obviously, with the carbon bucket, you are going to be catching onto the seat, and it does have a little bit of a tear, but that's fine. That's all fixable and replaceable. But interior is pretty clean on it. It's nice. Guys, look at these carbon buckets. They are obviously not adjustable. Look at this carbon on it, which is freaking amazing. And it does have the nice sound system on this, which is freaking sick. Has the nice top painted. I'm not sure if that comes factory or not. A lot of these parts are painted, but I know some McLarens did come carbon, exposed carbon. And I believe you could do it with this one, but I think we're just gonna leave it the way it is. As you can see, you can definitely see the carbon weave in it. And it is obviously missing the rear spoiler, and that thing is like $3,000 just the spoiler itself used. Man, I can't imagine what it is new. So yeah, Monday next week we will be disassembling the whole suspension and getting this thing to start to drive. Now let me show you guys how I started this car. I'm gonna explain to you guys. It's pretty cool how I did it. So if you guys do buy a McLaren and it doesn't start, you can test it out this way, just so you know your engine's not seized or you're not having any issues. So the way I did it is here. Let me pull the seat forward. Okay. There is a rear fuse panel in the back, and you actually have a manual to know what fuse and relay goes where. And on McLaren's, as you can see, that one, that little goldish looking like, I removed the cover from the relay, and you can actually, lock it in, and it will turn over the engine. That's the starter relay, and you can turn over the engine, and you can hear how it pries over, and obviously you know your engine's not seized. While you have that relay locked in, you can press the brake and start the car, and it will fire right up. Our issue, what we're having right now, is it won't start with just pressing the brake and the start button. Seems like there's not enough power, but when we do lock in that relay, it starts up and it doesn't have an issue. I'm not too sure what's going on. McLarens, they do tend to act weird, and maybe it's just because of the car sitting for a while. It's some weird electrical issue. And if you guys know McLarens, the older ones do have a lot of electrical issues, like the MP4s, 570s, 600 LTs, and the new ones do have some problems, but they're not as bad as the older ones. But yeah, like the older ones. Now, let me show you guys the rear bumper and then the side piece of what I was talking about. Unfortunately, we might need to buy both of the corner bumpers because they are damaged, unless we can have somebody that does carbon or fiberglass work that can repair it for us. And I do want to mention it does have some aftermarket wheels. They look pretty decent, I guess you can say. So he is gonna end up keeping these wheels and just buy that one new rear wheel. Man, look how wide he is. Another cool thing is actually 600 LTs, I didn't know, but they are 200 pounds lighter than the 570. Obviously, it makes a little more power, but that is actually pretty cool how it is 200 pounds lighter. I guess they saved a lot of weight in some of the parts, maybe some carbon parts. I'm not too sure. I didn't go deep into it, but that's what my brother did mention, which is freaking awesome. But now, let me show you guys the rear bumper. And here's the rear bumper. Let's start off with the damaged side. Obviously, this is the driver's side where it took the most impact. It did crunch it pretty good, but it does have clear bra. And as you can see, is that carbon? Yeah, it looks like it's carbon in the rear bumper. And hopefully this is fixable. Yeah, you can see this is real carbon right here. Well, I'm sure we can get this fixed by somebody that does know how to work with carbon. It might not be cheap, but this bumper is super expensive. Even used, I believe it's like $5 or $6 grand. So obviously we're gonna manage to hopefully save this rear bumper and not spend extra money on this. It does have a crack here as well, which is not bad. This bumper is still getting resprayed. Unfortunately, this camera is scratched up from, you know, being tossed around, which freaking sucks. But, you know, it's not as bad as the replacing the rear bumper, to be honest. Obviously, these side sections, they're right in the front, and they are damaged as well. We could probably save obviously the fin will get saved. Does come off on 2 bolts here. This is where the issue is. These are the side markers where they mount onto, and they're completely gone. I'm not sure if that's fixable, what we can do about it, but we're gonna talk to some guys who do carbon work and see what they have to say about it. Same thing with this side. This side is probably the worst. As you can see, the fin is completely destroyed on this end. This side we might obviously replace. Just so we're not dealing with, I don't think it's worth saving this, to be honest, panel. This is what I was talking about. You see how there's a mount on this side and that side is completely missing. So unfortunately, that does suck. I thought the corners would be good, but you know, that's not a problem. It does have these cool carpets, which is nice. The cool part is actually, this McLaren doesn't really come with carpets. It is actually full on carbon. Let me get a flashlight for you guys. Another cool part is that this car does not come with any carpet. It's on the whole floor. There is no carpet, just a little mat that just sits in the front. That's obviously right there, which is kind of cool. I guess you can see, you know, exposed carbon. Other than that, that's pretty much it for this video. I just want to show you guys a walk-around video and show you guys what we're working with, and it's gonna be a fun rebuild. And if you guys want to tag along and watch the rest of this rebuild, hopefully we can push some more videos and get you guys some more content. As I was talking about, when I did start this McLaren, we did start having fluid leaking from the transmission because when it got into accident, the axle popped out. So we couldn't run it for too long, but the car does sound really healthy and it's running really well. We don't want to run it for too long because we don't want to run the transmission dry, because you know, obviously the oil pump could fail on the transmission. So once we install this rear suspension on it, we will do a flush on the transmission just so we know we have all the fluids and we're not gonna have, you know, any issues with the transmission later down the road.